we're moving now from new technologies and imaging techniques to innovative societies, and we welcome our colleague from the Linköping University in Sweden, and the title will be Crossover Generalists as Facilitators in Social Transition Contexts. I'm very eager to learn about that.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this is the first time I'm in this type of session, and the reason is that I am from the future. So now we have been talking about detailed things and material science, going into details, finding out about the past, so we can understand until today and for the future and so on. And my background is materials research in silicon carbide for a new type of white LED. So I'm a material scientist since 1995. So I've been studying this into the details of atoms and so on. And then some few years ago I started with starting companies, being innovator, creating innovations and entrepreneurship. And in that materials research collaboration, we had collaboration with Mayo University because they had the idea of this white LED for general lighting. So it's a very nice collaboration. And if you notice this guy, who is one of the Nobel Prize winners for blue LED, 2014 in physics. So he's recognized for that one. And here we have a perspective of material science important for the future, or how long it takes before it becomes useful for us who are working today. And if you attended this talk, someone who did not?
Yes.
So, and then Professor Amano, who's also got the Nobel Prize, they were free, he talked about these innovations from research. And usually it takes like 20, 30 years before you have something which becomes an innovation for society. The blue LED material was almost 30 years. And now they have a program, and investors want it less than 10 years, and this is of course not really possible, but we can position ourselves for these things. So it was a very interesting talk. I'm happy that he provided some background material for my talk here. And also for this white LED, because it took so long time, but now it's used for energy savings. We have it, and it saves a lot of energy, but also we use this light to interpret things. Here is art, you have different LED frequencies, and then you can interpret art in different ways. And in the last talk from the previous session, it was different wavelengths of the LED to get different type of information from the different layers. So the LED technology is used for energy savings, but also these cultural things. But it took 30 years before it was available to us. And also other materials are for this. This is graphene. So there are materials in pipeline for innovations to become useful for us. And now I want you to forget about the small picture in atoms and think about the big picture, namely the globe. And if we think about the sustainability and climate crisis, you know, it's a big problem now, then we need to put everything we do in perspective. We cannot just think about these old paintings, because maybe 10 years from now we have no more Earth, and we don't need to care about it. So we need to put it in the big picture. I was exaggerating, don't be afraid. So now we'll talk about the sustainability, and this is a typical curve for if you have a material and innovation, then it's very exciting, breakthrough stuff like graphene now, exciting in research. And then you should make it reproducibly to products and systems, so it's available. So this is like a readiness level of material and technology. And this is the valley of death. And here is 20 years perspective, sort of. So many of the materials are like here, and things are here, and they will be used here. So maybe 20 years from now, you will use some technologies to interpret these data which you have today. Hopefully you have made your PhD already at that time. And now in Europe, this is an opportunity to use this stuff which he's talking about for free. In Europe, we have these activities about smart specialization. Have you heard about this? This is not normal conventional funding where we can apply for projects together. But a few years ago, in Europe, the countries give money to the European Commission, and the European Commission gives it back to us for the regional growth and things which are good for economic growth. And then it turned out that it's not so efficient as they would like to have it. So they asked all regions to focus a little bit more on areas where you're strong, specialize, and then you do a little bit more. So this is called smart specialization. So all your regions, if you live in Europe, they should have a smart specialization activity. So that's for the regional growth. But in the regional growth, you have the academic, industry, and all the interplay of actors which are important for us. So we were talking about science, but we have industries who are interested in some things, and you can combine, you can use these things which are for cultural heritage, for industrial things, these 1 meter aluminum pieces for airplanes or whatever. And so that is going on the big picture. And I have been participating in that in our region. And basically, if you have a strategy of the region, which is some good things to do, and then they write a lot of text, and then you make a big picture of it, and then different areas which are important. And for me, what is needed in order for this to happen is that you have a team for each area, so there are few people actually doing something, not only talking. So there's a group, a team, who starts to trigger things, so things start to happen. They don't need to do everything, but if you start with something, then things will move ahead. So this was a learning from me. So we were a team. I'm the coffee drinking guy on this side, and they are working in our region. So that's how I came into these ideas. But no one can do things on their own, so we need to work together and in a systematic level. This is my son running to the future, where I am. And then I read about this. In healthcare, you have the Buurtzorg model. So you're a patient, and you have the system. Usually it's a big distance between them, and you cannot connect these ones, so there are many problems. And in this model, what they propose is that close to the patient and the family, you have a team working, supporting the patient, and interpreting towards the system. So it's a small team working with different patients. And it turns out that it's a really nice success, because the costs are reduced 40% or something, and the life quality has improved for the patient and so on. So it's a very nice model for healthcare. So I was thinking, when we have innovations and ideas from our research materials, maybe we can apply this one for the innovators, so we support, because we cannot do these things ourselves, and we cannot understand the big picture of regional growth and all these things, so we work together. So my suggestion was that we could have a team working on that. And if we have such type of teams, and then we have other regions, so we collaborate, or between different disciplines, so then we can help each other. So we don't need to do it ourselves. Some of us are very specialists, and I've been that, but some of us are also a little bit generalists. So we can easily understand basic things of these things, go to this place, explain it to another person, so then we'll make a link. So we have generalists linking specialists. So this is my model, and this is more for discussion than a final result. And by this we can create different values for academic research, industries, and between regions. And this was also similar like this plenary talk. We have students who want to become entrepreneurs or develop technologies or invent things, and then they should have mentors. In a similar way, we can have a team supporting these people. And then more things will happen. Maybe not in 10 years, but maybe 14 years instead of 20. So this is an idea. And if we look at the regions can connect to each other, then we start to collaborate more between the regions. And actually, there will be money in the regional growth for smart specialization 2.0. 1.0 has been started, and 2.0 comes and that will be collaboration between regions. So if you talk with your regions, how can we do this in the big picture? And if they think this is a good thing for several actors, they will try to support that there's more interaction, meaning funding for our activities in a direct term. So this is something which is happening. But everything comes from the scientific things of these details which we are now exploring for the paintings to understand, and the technologies which we are developing in order to interpret the details. Those could be innovations, and maybe some of the things could be related to commercial activities we have offer for making paintings and things, and everything is put in a big picture. We cannot do these things more individually. So everything, very many things come from the science, basic science. And my thinking is that for the future sustainability, climate crisis and all these things we have, and for the future cultural heritage is developed from materials understandings which we have today and which we are discussing here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this future view.
Yes, I wanted to give just a few.
Many of us are, or most of us are experts. We are not generalists, but this is a very interesting idea, and cooperation, of course, is very important for the near future, also for the development
Yes.
of our.
And I think that there are some of the things like related to culture, which is bonding elements between us.
Yeah.
I'm a musician, so if you like progressive rock, we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
And then we bind the expertise areas through such binding agents.
And the European Union is also going in this direction, or the projects are also going in this direction.
And if we are before them, then we can have some of the money.
Yeah. Are there any questions from the audience or from our European project experience?
Just a comment. Yes, you are completely right. I agree with you. And moreover, in projects, but not only in projects, in reality, this exploitation at, let me say, a social level is very important. Also, because we have helped to increase the awareness in the civil society of the importance of our work. Otherwise, we remain, and can guarantee a real applicability. So your contribution and link with the scientific part is very important, and it is also an ingredient very useful for projects.
Yes, and this is part of my plan for the future, because I turned 50 years last year. After 24 years of materials research, I was thinking what to do next 24 years. So I will be more involved in these innovations, and I will leave the material science. I mean, there are young people who are better than me at the experimental things nowadays. So if you're interested in project collaborations related to innovation, translation, these things, I'm very happy to discuss them.
One of the most impressive results are these images of the black hole. That was also an idea 10-15 years ago. A lot of physicists didn't believe that they can really image black holes in our cosmos, but they did it.
Yeah, there were more
that
things
was also
coming.
very innovative, and that was only that only could be achieved by cooperation.
Yes.
I don't know, 6 or 7 stations all over the world. 200 scientists were cooperating, computer engineers, digital imaging experts, and that was also, for me it was very impressive.
It was a good example that we will need to do these things.
Yes. Maybe we have also such ideas in cultural heritage, and then we get billions of euros.
Yeah, but we could see here in the talks, there were things, you proposed some different things, so there are natural collaboration possibilities, and now you can put it in the perspective of different things.
Are there some more questions? If not, I think we have learned a lot about modern techniques and modern possibilities, especially in the European synchrotron radiation facilities. And I would like to draw your attention to the poster session, which starts at 2 o'clock. There are very interesting posters if you have a look. And we will continue a 2:45 with the last session. Thank you very much for being with us.